Yo, welcome to Yapzone. This is, I think, 16, 17, one of the, I don't know, I'll figure it out later. But yeah, I've been yapping a lot, so it kind of blurs together. Um, I feel like shit. I don't know what happened because like I thought like this weekend or whatever I had like a like a fun night, karaoke, got drunk, whatever, woke up the next day, slight hangover, but like it seems like there was like an underlying sickness or something because like I've just been feeling like garbage pretty much for a week now. Um, Yeah, it's not good. But aside from feeling like garbage, things have been still going pretty well. I'm basically like a month out from my Japan trip, so that's exciting. And I'm kind of just preparing. And yeah, it's one of those things where like I'm ready for a lot of things to happen, like the trip and then get back and, a new job, new timeline, whatever I'm doing. But since it's not for like a month and a half, well, I guess when I get back, it'll be 2 months. It's like the time before it happening, there's like nothing for me to do or fill the space with, so I'm just kind of bored in anticipation. I don't know, I'm like in a weird state right now. I got a lot of annoying phlegm right now. So yeah, I'm doing all right. Um, Studying's going kind of well. Uh, my car update is I did like take out like a lot of the trash and everything, but I don't. There's a lot of like scrubbing, and like soap and just I got to do a lot of like deep cleaning basically. I got rid of a lot of the, abhorrent stuff that I needed to get rid of, but there's still like a lot. I got rid of a lot of the, or most everything that was like just sitting in the trunk for maybe like 3 years at this point. Every time I move, there's always a like an 80% chance that things get left in the car forever, just to never leave the car, never to enter the home. Like, and that's just, I don't know. I'm lazy, I guess, but mental illness. But so yeah, I'm moving forward a little bit of that. My car has another fucking issue, so that leads to the thing that I was saying last week about don't minimize shit because just one more thing happens on my car and it's just like stress levels to the roof again, and it's just annoying. But overall, yeah, things are good. Man, I got this annoying like I can't talk without it bothering me, but I'll do my best and then wrap it up in like around 10 minutes. But things are things are good. I'm in one of those waves right now that I've talked about before where it's like, some weeks are great and you're doing everything. Some weeks are like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, why am I alive? Uh, some weeks are just so unproductive. Like, it's kind of what it is right now. Like, it's not that it's unproductive, but it feels like I'm just, stuck a little bit. Mostly due to the fact that I just feel like shit. So I'm so distracted. I can't even like enjoy the things I'm trying to do because I'm just like locked up, worried about my nose and bothering the hell out of me, not feeling like whatever, my nausea, just a lot of bullshit. But I guess the topic that I'll talk about today will be something that like worries me a little bit or that I wish would change. It's unintended side effect of the internet and having access to millions of products out there constantly so that you can the TikTok brain where you're like on to the next new thing, on to the next new thing. I think the internet community basically has gotten to a point where they just are leagues more naive than we've ever been before. Like having access to, okay, this thing is not going well. Let me swap to another thing. Let me swap to, this new show because that one didn't do what I want. Like people are basically like avoiding avoiding things that make them not happy or not. That's not the way to put it because that's what you should do. But they're avoiding like conflicting ideas. They're avoiding conflicting like moods or tones, and a lot of the best media out there, a lot of the things that you learn or shows that you watch, doesn't really matter what it is, have aspects that you shouldn't like. Like that's the point. There should never be and is never a show out there where you agree with everything that they do. And if you do and you're like, no, this show's never let me down. They've always done right by the characters, yada yada yada, whatever it is. You have rose tinted glasses on, and you're lying to yourself because when you take a step back, and it always happens without fail, no matter what it is, down the road you always turn. Like it always changes. So you either go from it was okay to in the future, you're like super nostalgic about it. Like that was amazing. I missed it. Like Avatar for a lot of people. At Last Airbender, not the horrendous blue alien shit. And then like the other way is just like you love the thing, but then since either you yourself as a person changed or because the things that you resonated with like aren't as apparent anymore, you now hate every single aspect of it. And real people aren't like this. Like if you talk to people in public who, don't exist 24/7 online and have jobs and shit, like they actually are able to handle these emotions. But the majority of like this internet generation, they can't handle it and it like makes them upset and like pisses them off. And then they get like angry at the world and then they tweet about how they're, I can't support this show. I can't support they did, I can't believe they did this. But like they never use their critical brains to understand why it's happening. Like I guess like the perfect example right now, and this is grown, he's talking about wrestling again. There's like a wrestling thing that's happening right now where like the biggest company bought out one of the smaller companies in Mexico. And then like they do every single year. It happens every year, but the internet is a bunch of people who have short memory spans, and a lot of them are young too, so they just don't have a memory of how things have been for like most of the entirety of that company's life. They let people go. The budget cuts. It's a business, and it's more of a business than it's ever been because it's making the most money that it ever has. So, the naive people who want everything to be peachy and want their best and their favorites to get pushed and applause and stuff like that sit there and this might be about wrestling, but this is something that you can apply to anything. This is like an easy like metaphor, but the company gets to a point, they do the same thing they always do, and they let people go right after they hired or right after they bought out a smaller company and reported record profits, and the people just immediately like lose their mind. The fans of the people who get let go are like freaking out, running for the hills, being like, "What the fuck is this?" Like they had so much potential. They were yada yada yada. Like, and if you look and you like take an unbiased like standpoint like back from the situation, like one of them was injured. One of them was constantly injured. One of them never was improving. One of them caused drama. Like there's always these issues that you just might not notice because they're your favorites. Like I would obviously be upset if my favorites got like removed and fired, like for good reason. But I think I would like to think that the way that I've grown now and who I am, I will take a step back after that and be like, I understand why it happened. And most of the time, it's probably not fair because life just isn't fucking fair. That's just how it is. But then you move on, you don't get affected by it. Like they probably won't get affected by it, and you support them in whatever they're doing, or you support whoever the writer is for the show you're watching. Doesn't matter what it is. Like you don't sit there and scream at the company like they're the worst thing in the world because that doesn't really accomplish anything. Whether you think it does or not, money is what changes things, and the majority of people out there that consume most media aren't online. Like, and that doesn't apply to just wrestling. Like, I think wrestling in general probably is like a huge majority are mostly non-online people. It's like kids and adults and, people who have jobs. I don't know how to explain it, but it's such a weird niche of like American culture that like the internet population is growing. Like the internet fandom for it is growing, but I still think it's a minority compared to the actual fans. Similar to other things like baseball and probably most sports, honestly, especially college football. But just like things in general, like big media conglomerates, like most people who are fans and consume the product and actually buy merch and stuff aren't the people online who can't afford to eat every week. They're not going to buy merch. They're going to sit there and complain on Twitter about how their favorite quarterback didn't throw the winning touchdown that game or some shit like that, or the refs were bad. Like I do occasionally when the Rockets lose. It's just how it is. Like you get upset if the things that you want don't happen. But to wrap up the metaphor or whatever, people are sitting here and putting their faith and trust and they're humanizing a company. Like once the companies get to a certain point, no matter what area it is, it could be fucking agriculture for all I care, like a botanist. Once they grow to a certain point where they include like hundreds of employees, thousands of employees, it's not gonna be the same. Like you could try to maintain that integrity and that human side, but it's never like that never happens. Like if anyone out there can name a single company or single show business, whatever it is, that has maintained the same integrity and the same like passion that you fell in love with when you first started consuming whatever it was, I will give you a big old smooch on the mouth. I can guarantee that's not going to happen because nothing ever stays the same. That's the duality of life. Like that's just what time is. Time passes, things change. So, they let people go, their favorites are gone, they lose their minds. And I think people start to do this thing where they just like they put faith in a nameless company, then they don't understand that number one, life's not fair. Number two, it's a business, so they have to, save the profits margins. Again, this fucking sucks. I feel for them, whatever. But I think a lot of this generation is unable to realize that things can be unfair and stupid and still the right move for the company or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they don't like companies don't hold themselves to human standards. They're not there to make everybody happy. Like otherwise they just wouldn't exist. Like that's just how it is. So like two things can be true. What happens or the news that comes out could be the worst thing in the world. And then it could also be, something else that you have no idea what's going on and you don't know why. And it's the right move for them. Like basically there's one answer in all these people's minds and they can't see why there's several layers to everything that happens. It's always black or white. There's no gray for anything that happens, no matter what it is, no matter what drama is going on. There's no gray. It's always black and white. It's always yes or no, you and me, whatever. And so they're upset that people get fired. The company that they bought out is a Mexican company that has like a lot of traditions and stuff like that. They're new. I think they're called like AAA. And there's a couple of people there that are, scumbags, like as it is. There's scumbags in WWE, there's scumbags in AEW, there's scumbags in every wrestling promotion ever. There's scumbags in every TV show you've watched ever. A lot of the people that you yourself look up to, I guarantee are probably scumbags. A lot of you are scumbags. That's just how it is. Most people, I think, might be inherently good, but probably don't lean towards that 9 times out of 10. And the things that they are, good about might not be the same things that you're good about. You might have a different opinion. Like that's just that's what life is. People are different. Things are different. And a lot of people are shit. Like it's this weird, people just are unable to grasp like the concepts that have been laid out for centuries. Like Sonder, like everyone's living a life as deep and, emotional, whatever, like they're as deep and layered as yours is. Like everyone's life is like that. You're like, oh, I go through this, I go through that, blah, blah, blah. This person seems so happy on the outside. I guarantee they're having the same thoughts. They've gone through those same things. Like it's a different genre, I've gone through a different life, but they all have that. There's such a weird unwillingness to detach yourself from the ego. There's such an ego. And a lot of the ego, that's funny because ego inherently is tied to the self. But we've gotten to this weird state where the ego is now a hive mind. It's like not like conspiracy theory hive mind, but like you are creating the ego and crafting it from the things that you consume, because we have this huge access to everything where we're not just in a little village somewhere by ourselves. So our ego's coming from, Kathy down the street saying our tie looks nice and Barry the butcher, giving us extra meat, like the scale of everything is so much different now. And it's created this weird thing where people are just like, it depresses me honestly. Cause like, I understand the feelings, I understand the way that people feel, but then it just gets to this point where it's like you stop caring about them because you see that they can't understand. They're not trying to understand. They're not trying to work through the emotions and grasp life. They're just like, they're stuck in the this sucks, life sucks, these people are fucking scum, I hate everybody. And to wrap up like the analogy I was using, it's just, they hired the new company. There's a couple people on there. I think one of them's name is Alberto Del Rio or some shit like that. He's like loved in Mexico or whatever, but he's also like a super huge scumbag who like, don't quote me on it because I don't know the guy, but he apparently like did some shit where he like got drunk and beat his partner or something. Don't condone that. Definitely wrong. But like I said, things are gray, like it's not like black or white. Like, yes, he's a piece of shit for doing that, but two things can also be true. He can be a piece of shit for doing that. We can always hold him accountable to it, but we can also understand that he's been, according to what I've been seeing, I haven't done a lot of research because I just don't care that much, but he's been, reconciling in a way that doesn't make up for it, but he's living, this new life. Because what happens when people go through stuff, they have to continue living. Their life doesn't just end. So even the people that we hate that have done horrible things, they change their lives and they do something else. And I'm not saying they're a good person now, but they still have to continue living. You don't just wish that someone's dead. Like there's another purpose basically they now have to start living. And I think this guy apparently like started like pushing new, like helping new talent out, training new people, trying to give back to the community a little bit. Like a lot of people do when they go through shit, they try to revamp stuff. Still a piece of shit, by the way. It's the same thing with like Shia LaBeouf. He's still a piece of shit, but I empathize with him a lot, like because hearing the story, which could be false, but assuming that his story is true and all the things that you've seen from like the Hollywood machine, his dad, the things he endured as a child, being like groomed by a fucking prostitute and not knowing what real love is, not knowing what care is, and then, not having anyone to help him out, and then going through this crazy meltdown. Now having one of the kindest women in the world and Mia Goth like supporting him, even though he did the things that he did. And you can tell when somebody's good and when somebody understands, because you got people like John Bernthal that hate what he did with a passion, but will sit there and listen to him and be like, yeah, you can, this is what we need. We need people to not deplatform and not talk about it just because it's a sensitive subject, but talk about it so we can then figure it out. Mental health is a huge problem in America. We don't know how to work through it for shit. And then we just give everybody drugs to think it makes it better. But yeah, Del Rio, basically similar thing, wife beater, horrible person, living a new life. He started to bring things up. People found out that he was signed to WWE and they're like losing their minds. They're like, this is horrible. You released these people to let this guy on? And it's like, no, they didn't do that. This dude he worked for this company before that they just bought out. So legally, the way it looks is he's now signed to the new company that is the owner, but it's still the exact same contract. Then in Q3, that's when new changes happen to the business model because things are converted. You know what? Like, I'm not going to go into the full details of it because who fucking cares? But basically, my point is like, there's several fucking layers to everything, and everybody's so quick to jump to, I hate the world. This is unfair. Fuck these people. My favorite loss. Like this, like nobody is patient. They preach kindness and empathy, but they're not patient. They don't give themselves time to work through things. They don't give themselves time to think. And it's don't give people the power to let you down, especially with like the media that you consume, because most of these people are not good. Even your favorites that you're like wishing better upon, they're good in some ways. Yes, I personally believe everybody has a good in them, but they've probably also done some things that you definitely don't agree with. It's just, it's just this weird thing that I wish would change, where people would stop being so naive and detach themselves and try to, I don't know, use their brain a little bit more. You're using your heart's good. Having a kind heart is amazing. Like I wish more people did, but there's like a level, everything's a balance in the world. I've talked about how balance for some reason always comes back, but you gotta have a balance between your heart and your brain. Logic and heart, like you can't be separated. They have to be worked together to get the outcome that improves your life. And I don't really know the point of this. I guess it was just me yapping about how I loathe the current state of mental health, and how I have to, the algorithm just puts what you look at. And I spend a lot of time looking at these people complaining because I want to see if there's anyone normal out there in the world, in the comment section, being like, dude, like you're freaking out over nothing kind of situation. I'm kind of one of those people. It's like I empathize, but I'm also a hater. Like I'm in between. It's so weird, but it doesn't bother me, and I wish it wouldn't bother them. But um, yeah. So I mean, all I see when I log on right now is just like this stupid shit. Like they'll read an article that says basically, man, time flies. I'll wrap it up right after this. They see an article that says, these people are being fired or whatever. There's two rosters. There's one that's the youth developmental roster. There's one that's the main roster. And a report comes out, which is probably what they wanted to get pushed out, because these leaks don't just happen. People push that out there because in wrestling, publicity, no matter what it is publicity. They like it. But they said, and I quote, main roster talent that were getting removed recently was because of, these things like age and, injuries, whatever. And people read that and immediately go, why? So why was this wrestler released, and their people they're talking about are not on the main roster. They're on the developmental roster and they're younger, and those people also had hella developmental issues where their knees are shot already at 24, which is depressing, sad. I feel bad for them, but it's like you have no comprehension. Nobody has these reading skills where they can understand what's happening. They just jump to conclusions and then move on. Like everybody jumps to conclusions. There's like this crazy, everything has to be fast. We've sped up the world. Everything's been so fast. Like, I guess that's the best way to wrap it up. The whole world is just sped up because we have such access to everything immediately. And it's not supposed to be that way. Like, some things are not supposed to be immediately found out. They take time. And that's not saying you need to, so they can cover it up. It's just like misunderstandings happen at such a rapid pace because things just boom, 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 boom. And then they see one headline and they're like, okay, I'm going to quote this, the fuck that, it's just like this weird conundrum that we're in right now. And I feel like half of my videos have been about, the mental state of society due to the internet. But I feel like they've been differentiated enough between like certain topics and things like that. Like, I think this one has mostly been about, naivety and just not letting people let you down and being smarter and, all that kind of stuff. But whatever. I don't even know where this is going. I kind of lost myself, but it's fine. I've reached like 21 minutes and I got to go to work soon. So I'm just going to dip out. Yeah, don't be a gullible piece of shit. Stay kind, but use your brain. And yeah, don't let other people control your happiness, I guess. There's other things out there. And I don't know, just live, So, y'all have a good one. Be easy. I'll see you all next time.